Yo. Squad.
CreepNation. Loco. Fly. Chillaton. Juice. Trap that nigga. CreepNation, ho.
Juicy wet, juicy wet, juicy wet, juicy wet, juicy wet, juicy wet,
Loco the monster, pull it out, launcher. Bang, bang, ski, ski. Leave that pussy in defeat. She come over once a week. Yeah, ho, I'm a creep. Her boyfriend can't handle that. She a super soaker and she throw it back. Young Sammy Sosa hit a home run, I'm through with that. Bend it over, let me see that cootie cat. Yeah, that cootie cat. Loco, I'm a nasty thug. She say that she freaked out, this dick gonna be a drug. Fuck the whole squad, so she gave her a buzz. Dick her down, never call her, so she hold a grudge. My dick stay on her medulla. Loco money longer than a ruler. Pussy save me like computers. I'm smoking on a stupid. Loco be your teacher. Juicy, wet. Damn, be my student, beat it down. Now she sad and she mad. Can she call my phone? No, leave me alone. Me and CreepNation on the move. Yeah, we moving zone.
juicy wet, juicy wet, juicy wet, juicy wet, juicy wet, juicy
Juicy, wet. You already know it's that. CreepNation top back. Take a picture, take a bash. Put that hoe up to the test. Add it up and do the math. Always first, never last. Turn the forward, cross the map. Fuck a bitch and make her jack. Role play while we on set. Throw a frisbee, make her catch. Dick her down, scream we the best. Dick her down, scream we the best. On the journey, on the quest. I'm tryna hit the bitch like next.
I need the sex. Juicy wet, juicy wet, juicy wet, juicy wet, juicy wet, juicy wet,
Juicy wet.
Man, fuck it down, I'ma let it shoot down the back.
Wet.
Man, fuck it down, I'ma let it shoot down the back.